This is the Fort Wayne plant of General Motors. And this is the main location where your Chevrolet Silverado is built. The production process starts in the press shop. Last year, Americans bought more than 520,000 Silverado pickups. This gigantic pressing machine creates the main body parts from steel rolls. An incredible 1,300 vehicles are produced here every day. In addition to thousands of employees, over 4,000 robots are involved in this production process. This part of the production process of the new SUV is called robot dancing. These robots are programmed to perform the repetitive activity of welding reliably and incredibly accurately. This factory covers an area of 4.7 million square feet, which is more than 60 football fields. It takes over 35,000 steps and 4,000 pieces to build a truck from start to finish. Welding is performed with high precision because it greatly affects the car's stability. Robots are not only cheaper to run, but above all, they perform their work with greater precision. The doors, hood, and trunk door, among additional parts, are attached to the assembled body. With laser welding, every spot can be welded in just half a second. Thanks to the higher welding speeds, more places can be welded, which further strengthens the bodywork and improves the dynamic properties and stability of the car. Then, with a human touch and visual check, this inspector confirms quality. The unevenness of the bodywork is polished by the factory staff. This is followed by moving the entire bodywork to the next production stage. The bodies are moved across the factory on special moving belts in a fully automated manner. The automated production process runs 24 hours every day with thousands of people on site. You can probably imagine how challenging it is to coordinate all parts of the production so that everything fits together perfectly. The Chevrolet Silverado is also built at the Oshawa plant in Canada. However, cars built in the Canadian factory are rarely imported into the United States. The white epoxy paint protects the joints on the bodywork from corrosion and creates a more stable adhesive surface. Robotic arms apply this protective paint before painting begins. During the coating process, the body is dipped for 5 minutes into a basin, which is filled with electrophoretic dip paint and deionized water. Now, painting robots apply the filler on the inside and outside of the body. This coat of paint levels out any remaining unevennesses and possesses UV protection characteristics. The paint is actually a fine powder used to coat the truck, and then they're baked to perfection in a literal oven at approximately 375 degrees Fahrenheit to cure the paint. The hottest part of the plant, literally. Thorough quality control is again underway in the LED tunnel. Now the body is ready for the final paint. Before the bodies receive their final color, they are thoroughly cleaned and any dirt from preceding processes is removed. Only then is the coloring base coat applied using high-speed rotating atomizers. And a fine spray of tiny color particles is given its desired hue. As you can see right now, this Chevrolet Silverado will be white. Also, there must now be a final and most thorough quality check. The cargo area and the driver's cab are not yet connected. Only the chassis connects the rear and front of the car. Employees at this factory wear special suits to protect them from paint splatter. Their job is to inspect the entire body of the car and detect any paint defect. In the case of minor damage, they can polish out the imperfections. While the car body is being painted, the chassis is being built. The chassis is formed by welding the main axles. The individual elements such as brake discs, shock absorbers, and other parts of the chassis are then attached to the chassis. The all-new Chevrolet Silverado features a fully boxed steel frame that is 88 pounds lighter than its predecessor, while offering 10% greater torsional rigidity. 80% of the frame is made of high-strength steel, varying from 2 to 5 millimeters in thickness, and every millimeter is optimized for performance using a variety of processes, including hydroforming, roll forming, conventional stamping, and Taylor-rolled blanking. The chassis is often rotated on its axis during production, allowing better access for factory staff. Now let's take a look at the assembly line where the engine is completely assembled. The manufacturing process goes from the smallest parts to the assembly of the entire engine. There is a separate building in the factory for this process, and all components are supplied by subcontractors. The engines here also move mostly on sliding belts at first, and only towards the end large cranes are used. These engines are more powerful and efficient variants of V8 engines. Once assembled, this huge engine is craned over the chassis and then permanently attached to the chassis of the Chevrolet Silverado with strong bolts. They say that the most reliable and popular engine for the Silverado is the 5.3-liter Vortec V8 and also the 6.0-liter Vortec V8. If you agree, please write your experience down in the comments section. Now the factory workers have finished the whole lower part of the car, and since the chassis is ready, including the engine, they can proceed to the connection with the car body. Now the future Silverado is ready to be married, one of the most impressive steps on the assembly line. Here, an automated control system places the finished drivetrain under the associated vehicle body and bolts it securely in place. In this way, the engine, chassis, and body are virtually welded together. Now the robotic arm adds the front window, which is glued with extra strong adhesive. Finally, the main assembly line begins. General assembly is where your weather stripping carpets, rear view mirrors, dash seats, and even the windshield gets installed. This pickup truck is raised so that workers can easily get under the truck and connect all the wiring and interconnections between the chassis and car body. This work is relatively demanding as the workers have to keep their hands above their heads for a large part of the shift. They also have their heads down and look up. That's why they have shorter shifts and better pay than workers in other parts of the Fort Wayne plant. Before a truck leaves the plant, there is a final quality check. The interior and exterior of the truck, electronics and controls are checked. All the data is recorded on an inspection sheet. The checklist must be in perfect order for the truck to proceed on the test drive. This beautiful new Chevrolet Silverado will soon be loaded onto a train and delivered to a dealership somewhere in the United States. This latest Silverado model costs from $47,000. You can typically expect most Chevy trucks to take between 10 and 14 weeks, according to the most current information. Right now, you're watching the production process of the Chevrolet Silverado EV. This all-electric pickup truck is General Motors' best-selling vehicle. This Silverado EV is assembled at the Detroit, Michigan plant. This factory is branded as Factory Zero to reflect GM's goals of zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. In addition, the Hummer EV and Cruise Origin are also assembled here. The assembly line uses modular, flexible platforms to support multiple vehicle types without major retooling, thanks to the Ultium platform. The production process features extensive automation, including collaborative robots, cobots, for tasks like welding and battery handling. Digital twin technology to simulate and optimize manufacturing before physical implementation. AI-driven predictive maintenance to reduce downtime. The Silverado EV features a front trunk called Frunk, a first for GM trucks. The Frunk is manufactured using lightweight composites and integrated into the front end using robotic arm assemblies. Right now, you're watching this female worker perform an output quality check. She will check the entire interior, including the functionality of the windows and other predetermined features of the car. Chevrolet Silverado EV features a skateboard chassis design with the battery, motors, and suspension all integrated into a single frame. This allows for a completely redesigned body structure, manufactured using advanced hot-stamped ultra-high-strength steel and aluminum. Since the end of last year, the Chevrolet Silverado EV has demonstrated promising growth in the United States electric pickup market. Though it remains in the early stages compared to competitors like the Ford F-150 Lightning and Tesla Cybertruck. This factory in Arlington, Texas, produces the Chevrolet Suburban and Chevrolet Tahoe. Chevrolet Suburban is a series of SUVs built by Chevrolet since the 1935 model year. The longest used automobile nameplate in the world, the Chevrolet Suburban is currently in its 12th generation, introduced for 2021. Based on the same GMT T1XX platform as the Silverado 1500, the Suburban distinguished itself by swapping that truck's live axle and leaf springs for an independent rear multi-link suspension setup with coil springs, thus lowering the floor of the vehicle and creating more room in both the cargo area and the second and third row seats. After the sealant is applied to the car body by automated arms, the body is painted and then the car is transported to the main assembly line. In addition to the Chevrolet Tahoe and Suburban, the GMC Yukon and Cadillac Escalade are also built on the same production line. The Chevrolet Suburban and Tahoe both have powerful internal combustion engines, so the chassis and engine are assembled separately, along with the body. This car factory has been producing SUVs for more than 60 years. Now only SUVs, but various types and makes of cars throughout history. It is one of General Motors' largest plants and employs over 5,700 happy employees. Employees' salaries depend on what kind of work they do in the car factory, and also on how long they have been employed there. These workers you're watching right now are making over $26 an hour. Now the robotic brackets lower the prepared car cab onto the prepared chassis. Once the wheels are attached, the nearly finished Chevrolet Tahoe moves into the lighted tunnel for quality control. Chevrolet Tahoe has regularly been the best-selling full-size SUV in the United States, frequently outselling its competition by 2 to 1. After checking the paintwork, steering, and controls, the lights are tested and then the car goes on the test circuit. Chevrolet Silverado, 4500 HD, 5500 HD, and 6500 HD are among the most popular large pickups in the United States. The Chevy Silverado 5500 HD has a gross vehicle weight rating of up to 19,500 pounds. Sitting higher than other consumer vehicles, the Chevrolet Silverado has significantly larger blind spots in which people or other cars are invisible to the driver. These test drivers take dozens of finished Chevrolet cars to the test track each day. Here begins the production of a true American classic, the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray. The Chevrolet Corvette is a line of American two-door, two-seater sports cars manufactured and marketed by General Motors under the Chevrolet mark since 1953. The Corvette is produced only in factories in St. Louis, Missouri, and Bowling Green, Kentucky. It has been in production since 1953, and there are currently 8 versions of the Corvette on sale, C1 to C8. Approximately 52,000 Corvettes are sold annually. Of these, 46,000 are sold to owners in the US, 3,500 are sold to Canada, and 2,500 to Europe. Now you can see that the entire front dashboard of the Corvette fits into the cabin of the car in one piece. In the case of the Chevrolet Corvette, the front dashboard attaches to the windshield frame, and now robots will install this entire piece of the car in one piece. The Corvette, by virtue of being a two-door convertible and coupe, has some specifics in the manufacturing process. You are now watching the production of the C7 Corvette, which is currently not available to buy as new. Only the latest Corvette C8 model is produced from 2020 onwards. The last C7 Corvette and the last front-engine Corvette, a black Z06, was auctioned for $2.7 million. Just the Chevrolet Corvette is a classic collector car that if you buy and take good care of it, it will grow in value. The underbody panels were made of carbon nano composite, and it made use of a new aluminum frame that located the four wheels an inch farther apart, front to rear and side to side. Luggage space decreased by 33% from the previous generations. Now the employees of this factory attach the windscreen with a feeder and glue it to the body frame. Follows to assemble all elements of the car's interior, including the steering wheel with the typical Corvette logo. The main assembly line employs the largest number of human workers. Robots cannot easily plug in wiring and do this specific activity. Some factory workers don't wear goggles, helmets, or gloves. They just dress like they're at home. The car bodies are moved across the factory using cranes in the roof and moving tracks. Now comes marriage. It is the moment when the mechanical elements of the car, engine, transmission, drive shafts, axles, fuel tank, and various other components, are all mounted on the car body at once. Employees can now easily bolt the chassis to the bodywork. This is a demanding job as they have their hands above their heads for much of the work shift. The Corvette C8 E-Ray was unveiled last year. It is the first production Corvette to include front-wheel drive electric motor components. The hybrid powertrain features a combined 655 horsepower generated from a 6.2-liter LT2 V8, coupled with an e-motor powering the front wheels. It listed at over $122,000 before options. Employee quickly and easily attaches the wheels to the Corvette with a pneumatic screwdriver. Employees have a pleasant working atmosphere and a good team when assembling the Chevrolet. At the end of the production line, the body is polished and the Corvette is checked for flawlessness and shine. The Corvette Stingray is a classic going through a modern resurgence. The curved lines of the hood and small trunk were popular during the second and third generations, called Corvette C2 and Corvette C3, respectively. Now the Chevrolet Corvette Stingray will be put through a dynamic test and taken to the showroom. This is the very beginning of the Chevrolet Equinox production process. Automated pressing is followed by the welding of the individual parts of the car. Let me know in the comments section which Chevrolet model you like best. This factory used hundreds of robots to weld together and seal the many parts needed to frame the vehicle. Employees help sequence the parts before a robotic arm whisks the assembly off to be welded by another robot. If the laser can be focused from a greater distance, a larger area can be welded in a shorter time with only a few movements of a robot and with greater precision. This is also where technology is applied that controls the intensity of the laser, which takes into account the protective glass of the welder that can become dirty. The welded Chevrolet bodywork will now move on to painting, followed by quality control and polishing. The Chevrolet Equinox is a crossover SUV introduced by Chevrolet in 2004 for the 2005 model year. It was intended to be a replacement for the North American Chevrolet Tracker and Chevrolet S10 Blazer. The third-generation Equinox also replaced the first-generation Chevrolet Captiva. An all-electric battery-powered version called the Equinox EV was introduced in 2022, with sales starting in 2023 for the 2024 model year. It adopts a separate design and underpinnings from the internal combustion engine-powered Equinox. The main assembly of the car begins with the installation of the wiring and the addition of the basic parts of the car. This is followed by lifting the car body using a crane and then lowering it onto the prepared chassis. This part of the car manufacturing process is called the marriage. While one part of the workforce prepares the body of the car, another part of the factory assembles the chassis. This is created by welding the structure and then adding the braking system and adding the electronics. The car's engine, including the radiator, is then connected. Here you can see the finished chassis, including the exhaust, gearbox, and main bumper. The factory workers put Chevrolet together like a puzzle. Piece by piece, they gradually connect and assemble the new car. Everything is done according to predetermined procedures and processes. There is no mandatory dress code for employees, unlike workers in car factories in Europe. Skepticism about the Equinox's EPA fuel economy ratings has been raised after a number of road tests at the model's launch achieved 20 to 30% lower fuel economy than the official EPA ratings. The base L trim level was dropped, making the LS trim level the base model. The Midnight Sport and Redline editions were also discontinued, all of which were replaced by the new RS trim level. The refreshed Equinox went on sale in the first quarter of 2021 as a 2022 model. Once assembled, inspectors confirm that correct parts are installed on a vehicle. Next, inspectors check and adjust the lighting fixtures, gauges, and any unusual noises, then confirm the gas pedal and brake pedal for effectiveness. This is Ingersoll Assembly Plant. The company says production of the Equinox crossover vehicles will end in April, so GM can convert the plant to make electric commercial vans by the end of next year. Now you're watching the production of the Chevrolet Traverse. The Chevrolet Traverse is a full-size crossover SUV with 3-row seating built by General Motors. It is built on the same platform as the GMC Acadia and Buick Enclave. This car is manufactured only at GM's factory in Lansing Delta Township, Michigan. It is a small manufacturing plant with 2,900 employees. Mostly Americans and Mexicans work here. Lansing Township Assembly is a gold-certified automaker for environmental stewardship. The second-generation Traverse adopted a more truck-like design, similar to the Tahoe, while taking some cues from the now mid-size Acadia with the Chevrolet front grille design. As you can see, there are a number of female workers in all different positions. The third-generation Chevrolet Traverse finally went into production in 2024. The new model is selling very well. This is Factory Zero. It is the launchpad for General Motors' multi-brand all-EV strategy. The facility builds a number of Ultium-based vehicles, GMC Chevrolet Silverado EVWT, and Hummer EV pickup. Factory Zero will also build the upcoming GMC Sierra Denali and Cadillac Escalade IQ, in addition to assembling Ultium battery cells into modules and packs for a variety of car designs. This is what it looks like to scan a molded Chevrolet Silverado door into a computer where it will be optimized. This is what chassis capability testing looks like when developing a new car. Testing the durability, sound deadening, and shock absorption capabilities of the shock absorbers. Please let me know in the comments section if you enjoyed this long documentary. Dyno testing evaluates the torque and rotational speed of an engine, demonstrating the power generated by Chevrolet car. This is Fairfax Assembly and Stamping, owned by General Motors. Production always begins with the pressing of sheet metal, using a huge gigapress that stamps the body parts. These employees will use the parts to assemble the main body frame of the future Chevrolet. Every day, several thousand new cars are produced at this plant. It employs more than 2,100 hourly and salaried employees. The employees are represented by the United Auto Workers Local 31. The Cadillac XT4 and the Chevrolet Malibu, both based on the same platform, are built here. General Motors announced that it would invest approximately $390 million in a manufacturing plant in Fairfax to build the new Chevrolet Bolt EV. Compared to car factories in Europe or Asia, these factories in the US are dark, and there is less discipline and order. Personally, I think it's wrong and it should be improved, otherwise Europe and Asia will overtake us in car manufacturing. But now I'm going to show you the Orion Township plant, where 1,200 employees currently work. The worker who will now assemble the wheels will mark the center of the disc, where he will attach the wheel holder. Toyota is the best-selling brand in the United States, followed by Ford and Chevrolet in third place with 1.4 million vehicles sold for the year. Chevy trucks are famous for being affordable to buy new or pre-owned. Plus, when it comes to maintenance, Chevy trucks have above-average reliability ratings with inexpensive repair costs compared to other brands. From late 2025, the plant is slated to assemble battery-electric pickup trucks such as the Chevrolet Silverado EV and the GMC Sierra EV. Aluminum casting for Chevrolet, Buick, GMC, and Cadillac vehicles takes place in this factory. This modern aluminum casting factory is located in Indianapolis, Indiana. Bedford Casting Operations in Indiana manages die casting processes that produce cylinder blocks, transmission cases, structural components, and EV drive unit housings. This production complex has been in operation since 1942. It was founded during the war and belongs to GM. The following yellow robots from Phonic Robots are used in the production of cylinder blocks and transmission cases. These robots and rovers are pre-programmed to perform one repetitive action. The purchase price of these robots is high, but their subsequent efficiency and salary savings are enormous. Transmission cases and cylinder blocks are transported on sliding belts for washing and rinsing after casting. This is storage of cutting materials, die storage / prep area. These small automated transfer vehicles, ATV, are used to transport finished parts between sites. The individual components from which the whole engine is subsequently assembled are stored in intermediate warehouses inside the factory. Chevrolet vehicles may experience engine-related problems such as rough idling, stalling, or reduced power. These issues can be caused by factors such as dirty air filters, faulty spark plugs, or fuel system problems. Thanks to these boosters of all the heavy components, up to 40% of women can also work in these GM factories. This manufacturing activity most resembles a giant jigsaw puzzle, which is easy to learn. Employees are motivated by speed and flawlessness. They can expect a salary bonus at the end for a job well done. On the other hand, if employees come to work tired and make a mistake, they can expect to be sanctioned and, in extreme cases, fired. Here you can see the production of the HFV6 engine 10 speed transmission. It is a 60-degree 24-valve design with aluminum block and heads and sequential multi-port fuel injection. Now the engine is finished and will move to the warehouse and then to the main assembly line. And now you'll see the production of Cadillac cars. Cadillac and Chevrolet are both under the parent brand of General Motors, and therefore have much of the same manufacturing process. This is how the car was tested in the wind tunnel. Cadillac Lyriq also has a low coefficient of drag thanks to this process. This is Spring Hill Manufacturing, where the Cadillac Lyriq XT5, XT6, and Acura ZDX are built. In addition to thousands of robots, 3,100 employees work here. On average, they earn $25 an hour. Body in White, BIW, is the stage in automobile manufacturing in which a car body's frame has been joined together, that is before painting. Now GM employees will check the quality of the welded bodywork, and after polishing, the bodywork will be sent for painting. Historically, Cadillac cars have been among the top luxury car brands in the US, but since 2000 they have been overtaken by European luxury brands including BMW and Mercedes. Last year, 147,000 new Cadillacs were sold in the US. The most in-demand models are the Escalade, XT5 and XT4. The sunroof is now added to the body of the Cadillac Lyriq, using a robot and transported to the main assembly line. Last year, 147,000 Cadillacs were sold in the US, but in China, 183,000 Cadillacs were sold in the same period. China buys far more Cadillacs than any other country. In China, it's prestigious to own a piece of America. The giant battery is now attached to the bottom of the body using an automated feeder. The battery is attached with strong screws. When replacing the battery, the entire chassis must be removed afterwards. The Cadillac Lyriq is a battery electric mid-size luxury crossover SUV, and you can see it on US roads starting in the first half of 2023. Now the finishing touches are being put on the emblem and chrome elements. Run-flat all-season tires fitted to 20-inch wheels are standard on all trims, with 22-inch wheels optional. All-wheel drive models have a 3,500-pound towing capacity, while rear-wheel drive models have no tow rating. Now these Lyriq luxury cars are being launched for the first time and will move on to the next part of the production process. Please let me know in the comments section below the video how you like the Cadillac Lyriq and if you like this gray color. Final output quality control takes place in these illuminated LED tunnels at this GM factory. The Cadillac Lyriq's unique grille features vertical light bars on the outer edges of the bumpers that house the headlight projectors. This is a sporty-looking fake front grille with a different pattern of embedded LED lights. Over 13,000 of these cars have been sold in the United States in the last 12 months. As Cadillac's first fully electric vehicle and the first GM production vehicle using the BEV3 platform, the Lyriq introduces a new version of GM's Super Cruise semi-autonomous driving system. The name Lyriq follows a pattern of several prior Cadillac concept vehicles, including the Evoque, Provoque, and Celestique, all ending in Q. Chassis stability and driver's cabin soundproofing were tested here during the development of the car. The charging socket is on the driver's side of the front wheel. The battery is 100 kilowatt-hours Ultium lithium-ion cathode. Prototype track testing is an important part of every Cadillac car's development. The Cadillac Escalade's reputation for being an outstanding passenger transporter holds true. Its spacious interior and smooth ride make it an ideal choice for those who value both comfort and safety. This tests performance, handling, steering, and braking, for example. Similarly, the popular Cadillac Escalade is also produced in classic black. This is Detroit Hamtramck Assembly, Factory Zero, owned by General Motors since 1985. The Cadillac CT6 was produced here between 2016 and 2020. Currently, the Cadillac Escalade IQ is produced here. The welding of the entire body is automated using only robots. They also take care of the bodywork movement. The full-size luxury Cadillac CT6 is no longer in production and has been replaced by the newer Cadillac Celestique. The Cadillac CT6, which means Cadillac Touring 6, was discontinued due to poor sales, as well as the need to rebuild the Hamtramck factory to produce electric vehicles. Independent studies consistently rate Cadillac cars as reliable, even when they have been around the block several times. With an emphasis on quality materials and construction, you can count on Cadillac to stand the test of time. Spring Hill Manufacturing also manufactures powertrains. Stamping and molding operations are also conducted here. Powertrains are then transported to the warehouse, where they are then moved to the main assembly line. This factory has been producing cars since 1990 and is located in Tennessee. Wearing safety goggles and gloves, this employee fixes battery cells into a frame. In addition to the Cadillac Lyriq, the Acura ZDX, Cadillac XT5 and XT6 are also currently produced at the plant. Employees in the factory often work in pairs, so they can better manage work from both sides. It is important that they work together. These workers must correctly plug in the battery at the specified time. The entire production logistics must be on time. Cadillac became the only automobile manufacturer for people of notoriety, such as Al Capone, Elvis, and several presidents. These vehicles were fitted with exclusive features, such as bulletproof glass and exterior panels, bomb-proof underplates, custom paint jobs, and more. Thanks to the UAW, employees can wear whatever clothes they are comfortable wearing to work. They don't have to wear, as in Europe, company clothes with the car company logo. Some employees last for several years, but a large number of them only have this job as a temporary solution and are looking for more profitable work. In conventional combustion cars, the body is now connected to the chassis and engine. Automakers around the world talk about marriage when they put the chassis, transmission, and engine into the body on the production line. The body is lowered onto the chassis with brake discs and engine ready. This is followed by bolting and wiring. Since 1902, Cadillac has been blazing a trail for automakers around the world. Founder Henry M. Leland was undoubtedly a man ahead of his time when it came to automotive innovation, technology, and style. The world-famous brand as a whole is truly unique and has come a long way since its first car sold for $850 in 1903. This hot employee has the task of screwing and thus firmly attaching the entire chassis and car body. Now the wheels are still attached to these Cadillac cars using robotic screwdrivers. The cars are now moved by crane to the main quality control line. Here the production specification, collar, and trim level of each car is checked. An incredible 30,000 vehicles are produced every day at this largest GM plant. This Cadillac is now complete and will go on to the test track, where it will test all of the car's handling characteristics in 12 minutes.